So unlike many other analysis systems which have different buttons and dialogues as for when you're working with moments and forces and different load types, within the Nastran environment, there's one button. So notice that within the ribbon tab, we have a loads, or the other option is I can go into my subcase and I can right click and I can create a new load, or I can go into the model tree, I can find the loads, I can right click and I can click new. So in all instances, you're going to get the same dialog box. Now from within the dialog box, what we do is we define the type that we're applying. So in this case, I want to apply a force. So I'm just going to rename this to the lever force, just so descriptively wise within the tree I can quickly identify what I've used this for. The ID is going to be assigned by Nastran. It's just kind of the internal name to differentiate the different types of loads. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the entities that I want to apply this to. So I'm going to apply it to this surface here. So I've selected the surface, and we can see that the face has been selected and which component, which model it's been selected on. Now, just like when working with constraints, I can right click in here, notice the option to delete and clear all. I can also be specific about the type of options that I want, or type of objects I want to be able to select. So do I only want to select faces? Do I want to work with edges and vertices? I can pick and choose what I'm working with. Now at this point, I've only got one subcase in my model, but if I wanted to apply this to different subcases, I could pick the subcases I want this applied to. Now, notice that right now there's no magnitude on it. So even if I turn on the preview option, I'm not going to get anything because it doesn't know how to preview the force that I'm applying. So I'm going to come back to this in a second, but we can see here the direction. What direction do we want to use? Do we want to go based on the component? Do we want to go based on the geometrical entity I've picked? Do I want to go normal to a surface? So normal to surface works great when you're actually got a surface and you want to go normal to it. So here's the magnitude in my case, since the units are set to imperial, into pounds force. And what it's going to do is take this force and apply it normal all the way to that surface. Well, that's not really what I want in this instance. So I'm actually going to go components because I want to set this in the Z direction. So I'm going to apply a 50-pound force in the Z direction on that. And the coordinate system it's using right now is it's using the assemblies. So I can see that the direction down here in the bottom left corner, but I could be specific and say, well, I really want to work with that handle caps one instead. So now it's going to use the coordinate system of that component instead. So you can pick or choose which coordinate system you use. So I've got my 50 pounds on there. Let's make this a little bit larger so we can see it, and it's going to apply that for me. So we'll click OK, and it's gone through and actually applied that. Now we probably can't see it because of the direction. So let's go back and let's edit that, and let's actually make that a -50. And I'm going to click OK to update that, and now we can see the direction. So it's just that it was going into the model, and that's why we couldn't really see that. So now I can see the direction that that force is being applied to. So as you can see there, is I was able to modify it quite quickly by just right-clicking on it within the model tree, and I can go back and make any changes. So maybe this really should have been 500 pounds instead. I'll click OK, and notice the arrow hasn't changed because that's really just there to show you where it's applied and the direction that it's applied on. Now, if I did have multiple subcases that I wanted this to be applied to, notice the option to copy. I can then paste it into other subcases. And if I decided that I don't want it, then it's just a right-click remove, and you can delete it from the model. So let's say you can apply forces, and really that's a general process of applying any type of constraint to your model within your analysis.